It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Fabulous.
Not bad.
Okay.
Every one of us is lying, too, but that's all right.
Lion eyes. Hope everybody out there is doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Oh, man. Too damn much.
Oh, jeez.
You're right. I think we got our episodes messed up. We should have done what we hate about Christmas this week, because this week it all really sets in, and you're like, God, just wake me up at the beginning of the year, okay?
No, see, because this week you need the positive vibes.
That's what that was the plan.
Right. You end on a high note.
Well, I know this morning for me it was ah.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's back and forth, and you got to be here, and you got to do this, and all those weeks don't spend a lot of money. We got Christmas coming up. I had to remind him that Christmas is next week, so guess what I got to do today? I got to run all over the place looking for Christmas gifts.
Spend a bunch of money.
Yeah. All that money we saved, gone.
It's gone. Yep.
The only difference is if I would have done it when I wanted to do it, everything would be shipping on time.
In theory.
In theory,
right.
Yeah. But no, other than losing my freaking mind, the last couple of days, I've kind of fallen down a rabbit hole. I don't know if you guys have heard of what's going on, but in my little nerd sector, I get a lot of like computer stuff thrown at me. You know, read this, look at this. Well, back up for a few months ago, I saw that NZXT was like trying to do like a new program. Now, normally they do like pre-built and water coolers for your computer, that kind of thing. And they were going to rent pre-built computers. And I thought, well, that's kind of different, you know. I vaguely looked at it. The prices were fucking outrageous. I mean, by the time you get through paying for this thing, which they say would be 2 years, you wind up paying like 4 times the amount of what the computer's actually worth. Mm-hmm. So, of course, it was like, that's you know, predatory practices there. You know, I kind of put it in the back of my head, and, you know, you try to forget it, but you can't, because a lot of people who do computer programs, any kind of nerd talk and stuff, it seemed like NZXT had gotten them as was sponsors of them. So you had to see the ads. Uh-huh. You had to see it, you know, all this at the bottom of the screen. So a few days ago, one of the main guys that I watch is, his name's Steve. He's over at Gamers Nexus. And when this came out, about the same time, I was like, you know, that doesn't look too good. He was looking at it too, and he's like, no, this really don't look good. You know? He spent a little bit more time on it than I did. Long story short, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a whole bunch of bullshit. I feel very sorry for anybody who got wrapped up into this company. But the more and more that keeps coming out, they're finding out now these computers where it was spun as in 2 years you'll own this computer, right? No, you'll never own the computer. They'll upgrade you in 2 years, but you'll continue to pay if you want to keep the computer. But one of the most shittiest things that I saw through all of this, because, I mean, that's pretty much written out for you on their website. Here's what you're going to pay. Here, you know when you sign the contract what you're getting into there. So, I mean, yeah, I feel bad because things like that and like Rent-A-Center and errands and that kind of thing, to me, I feel like they prey on poor people who don't have money, and they find ways to squeeze out that little bit of money that they do have, in the hopes of having a computer or a washer and dryer, Now, the difference is Rent-A-Center, at the end of 2 years, you got a damn washer and dryer that you're going to be able to keep.
Right.
Well, the worst thing I saw was, okay, in 2 years or any time in between, if the software goes outdated, you can send it back and they'll upgrade you. Well, part of your contract states any of your information that you leave on your computer is theirs. Now, they don't tell you. Yeah, you see where that's going, huh? They don't tell you that they'll sell it to a third party. Instead, the contract reads they'll do with it whatever they want.
That's ballsy.
Whatever they want, yeah. So not only are they making 3 times the amount of, what they're paying, well, probably even more than that. They're making a shit ton of money off the computer, but that's not where the money is. The money for them is in selling your data.
Right, it's on the shit they scrape off of your hard drive.
Yep. Now, I'm a nerd. I'm not like a pro at computers or anything else, but I know how to wipe a hard drive. I mean, it takes a little work, especially if you don't want it to be recovered. But no matter how good you wipe your drive, someone can still come along and recover some part of that drive from you, which a company that's preying on you, I wouldn't doubt that they have them on payroll, So you can't fully get rid of it. Now, another thing is if at the end of the 2 years you want to take them up on that upgrade, well, you got to send your computer back to them for them to do this. Now, in the process of it leaving your home and getting to them, if anything whatsoever happens to this computer, you're fucked. It is on you. They take no responsibility for it, and you're responsible now for anything that's broken. Or you can buy a $35 box from them and hope that gets it there. Because if not, I mean, if I was this company and I'm writing shady shit, I would look for little things. Oh, you got a chip here. You didn't pack it good enough. No, we're not going to replace this $3,000 computer because you didn't ship it back to us right, So these people are scum. The guy came out and he made a statement after Steve was pretty much like, he bought a computer from them. Now, when he does this all the time. That's pretty much what his channel is. But when he does it, he uses a fake name. So that way people don't know that it's him and send him something better or different or, whatever.
Right.
So he gets all the way through this contract to rent this computer and everything else so he can check it out. And, puts the credit card information in, and then he gets to the very last part, which is where you have to upload an ID. And he was like, well, too bad I can't do that because, I that's not my name. That's not who I am. So he called it quits, didn't think he was going to get the computer in and everything. The very next morning, he gets an email from them. Hey, guess what? Your computer shipped. Never once verified an ID from him. So he's kind of like, whoa, what the hell? Now,
well,
granted,
they've got his credit card information, so they don't care.
Yeah, pretty much, But it's like, wow, oh my God, there's so many red flags. But when the president or CEO of this company came out to address some of the problems that Steve had with their contract, he basically told us consumers we were confused. We're sorry you thought you were going to own this computer, but you're not. It's strictly a subscription to this computer. You'll never own it. When you're done, that's it. You send it back and it's ours again. So it's always guaranteed they're going to get your data. You have it for a day and you log into this thing. They have your data. And now not only do they have your social security number, where you live, who you are, your credit card, your ID, now they get your computer back and now they know your banking information. They know your freaking emails, all kinds of personal shit that they have all the right answers to your security questions from you filling out an application to get that computer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, and like I said, when they're going through all of this, it's like, how do you overlook that? For me, the data thing alone would have been a no-go. No-go. If you can't tell me where my data's going or what you're going to do with it, no, I don't think so. When you get into especially a financial agreement with somebody, you have to be able to trust them because they have all your financial information. There's a trust that both of you have to have with each other. And you have to hope and pray that that person you gave all that sensitive information to encrypts it right so the wrong hands don't get onto it. But then you find out they are the wrong hands.
Oh, they took it because they were planning to screw you from the beginning. Yes.
You are the wrong hands.
I
But
don't want the competition.
he changed a few wording and that kind of thing. And so, Steve, if you guys want to check it out, like I said, he's the Gamer Nexus. He readdressed it again after the guy addressed it. But when the CEO was addressing it, I got to looking at the guy and it's like, why does he look really, really familiar? I know I've seen this guy. Maybe he's in the nerd circle. I don't know, but I know I've seen this guy. And I did think it was good. So this second video that Steve uploaded, he explains where we've seen this guy before. A while back, NZXT, I think it was a graphics card that they were selling. Or no, it was their water cooler that they were selling. And, once again, Steve got a hold of it, was running the performance test and everything else on it. And the way this thing was hooked up into the computer caught on fire. And he's like, damn, they're looking at it. Of course he's recording all of this so he could see how it was done before the fire and everything else. And he's like, this is bad news, So he called them and let them know, hey, this isn't an extreme, this could happen. This is more of when this is going to happen because this is going to happen because you fucked up, Well, they swept it under the rug. I think it was like a year and a half later when I think it was the SEC who finally had to step in and get involved because, dude, you're burning people's homes down. And then you find out this guy was warned about this, So they're not doing good anyway. They're pieces of shit to begin with, And he said what they were doing was no different than what like NVIDIA does. Now, I am personally in the camp of if you can't afford it, save until you can because it's just not worth it. All the extra fees and everything else that you pay and, even though you can hold it today, it's not worth the headache. If you can't afford it, you really don't need it, especially when computers are involved. So NVIDIA does have a program where you can, I think you can rent a graphics card and, kind of like a Rent-A-Center thing, you do get to own the graphics card when the service is over, though. It's a lot different. So him saying that they were the same way, no, you're not.
Right. NVIDIA has it's basically a simple payment plan.
Pretty much,
And
yes.
right, and that's very different from what Laughing Boy is trying to sell.
Right. Which is what which was what he was trying to tell everybody he was doing. Because, I mean, I guess if you don't have the money to buy a gaming PC, I guess it wouldn't be bad to make payments on it. Like I said, I don't think I would do that. I've never been in a situation where I've had to do that, though. So I don't know. But I want to own it.
Right. You want it to be yours.
Yeah.
Not borrowed from somebody else.
Right.
For an exorbitant rate.
And, the thing with NVIDIA, they don't want that back. By the time you have made your payments on it, it's outdated.
Oh, big
They've
time.
already got the newest and best thing out. They don't want your shit back, And that's the way these computers are, because when Steve wrote down the components of the computer and everything else, when the computer comes to your door, you're already dealing with 4-year-old technology. 4 years old. Now, in computer terms, that's like fucking 40 years. I mean, time moves very fast with computer components,
Yeah.
You buy the latest and greatest, and you're out of date the next day. There's
generations are a couple of years at most.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you do this upgrade at 2 years, by the goodness of their little hearts, they feel obligated to upgrade 6-year components. I mean, that's the very least you could do, And why would you want components back that are 6 years old? Oh, because you're harvesting data off of them, And I guess it would just be greedy to tell them, just ship the hard drive back.
Right.
The only thing good.
Well, then you couldn't sell the $35 box, remember?
Right. Well, you still could, if it gets steamed or wet. Yeah, it's shady. And of course, now a lot of these influencers are like, "Oh my God, we didn't know. We didn't know. We
didn't bother to find out either, did you?"
Yeah, and see, that's pretty much what Steve said, because one guy kind of came down hard on him. When you found all this out, you should have told us. Well, why didn't you do your own research? Like I did. Why didn't you do? It's not up to him to do the research for your show, And if you're getting contracts from people who, some of these channels have millions of subscribers too. If you're recommending something to your audience that has a contract attached to it and you don't understand the contract, it's time to hire a lawyer and put them on your team, because this could blow back on some of them. They were promising these people a rent-to-own kind of thing, and that never was the case,
Mm-hmm.
So you may not have needed one then. You thought to look at a contract, but you may now because you didn't read that contract.
And because you didn't read the contract, you've potentially ruined your own credibility as an influencer.
Yeah. And of course they're like, we're taking them off, and, we won't work with them again. Well, what about the last 8 months you've been pumping this to your 5 million subscribers? How many of them took your word and is now locked into the devil's computer,
Let's be honest. They don't care because they saw the dollar signs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They got paid in that moment, and
that's all they thought.
For a lot of them, that's all that matters.
And I know Jay was like, "Oh, I feel so bad, and we won't ever do that." And it's like, dude, that's great because you didn't get lumped in with this. But yeah, I think it's gross that they won't take accountability on themselves. Instead, they want to blame someone else who's blowing the lid off this, And another point, Steve's video was the second video he put out before these guys even said anything. So you didn't watch the first video when he broke the contract down that you didn't read? You didn't understand then that it was fucking shit? You waited until the CEO of a company who was doing the shady shit addressed it before you even said anything. So how many months went by between those two videos, you know?
Mm. Yeah, well.
You talk about why they don't take responsibility and they blame somebody else. Well, that's the freaking American way.
Yep.
It's never my fault. It's someone else's fault. Yeah.
See, I would feel horrible. Absolutely horrible. You know, I know we may not have like a huge audience or anything, but I think
Oh, sure.
it's
Rub it
probably
in.
been, yeah, well, it's probably been a couple of months now.
Gonna make me cry.
Right.
I
again.
said something stupid, and I found out I was wrong, and I did. I went to our Discord and I completely owned it. I did, because I jumped on a hate train and I shouldn't have. You know, that was my first fault. But nowhere in there did I go, oh, but it's you guys' fault because, you know, you want to listen. But you know what I'm saying? To me, that's just gross. If you're wrong, own it. People will respect you more because you're the first one to go, oh, wow, I completely fucked up there, didn't I? You know, I'm sorry. And I forget what I was talking about. I think it was Peanut the squirrel that I was wrong about, the lady who was responsible for that. And it was like, I'm sorry, you know. But had we have had an audience of a couple of million, think of the damage I could have done just by ranting, you know. So, yeah, like I said, it's definitely been interesting. And I'm now just like watching all the response videos, because when Steve dropped this last one, I mean, my mouth was wide open for at least half of it, because it was like, dear God, you know, how does anybody look at a contract and not see this? You know? He's crazy, you know.
You forget how weird you are, Liz.
Yeah.
Remember, all of this, click on that, you know, hey, read this to be able to get in and do whatever, and go, okay, yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
we all do.
Most of those people that we do that with are brands that we trust already to begin with. Like, I think the latest one, well, we'll say before their latest ULA, like Adobe. Anything Adobe's like, hey, okay this. I'm like, okay. You know?
Yeah.
I've worked with them for 20 years. They've never screwed me. So this last screw was a big shock because, like I said, I've worked with them for 20 years and I've never been screwed by them. And then by being, okay, I screwed myself. I lost every single piece of work that I've ever done in Adobe by clicking a fucking button. Yeah. Tell me I ain't kicking my ass, you know. Not saying my work is special and they want it, but they can. And that's what sucks, is I gave them a blanket yes to whatever they want to do with whatever I do in their program, because I didn't read. Mm-hmm. The thing I'm always yelling about on this show. I didn't do it.
The thing you have yelled about on this show for years now. Yeah.
Years.
You bring it up at least once a year, it seems like.
Yeah.
Whether we want you to or not.
Like I said, whoever thought Adobe would screw us? EA Games, they screwed a bunch of people not too long ago. Whoever thought they would have done that to them? They've been handling this information for years, you know. So, but I will say, anything that's way over my head, like when we were dealing with the farm and stuff, we do have a lawyer look at that kind of stuff, because I don't know. I don't know what people are going to sneak in. Yeah. And to me, I say it's keeping honest people honest. You know?
Yep. It's a safety net. It's just in case. And it's not that you're looking for something to be wrong or terrible or awful, but if it is, you want to make sure it gets caught before you get into trouble.
Yeah. Before you've given them a blanket yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Take my work. It's cute.
Take my wife, please.
So yeah, like I said, if y'all want to check that out, the name of the company, I don't even want to say their name, but it's NXZT.
You've already said it repeatedly.
Yeah, you already said it. So.
Yeah. So you can type that into YouTube, and I'm sure Steve or Gamers Nexus will be the first thing that pops up because he is the one who's blowing the lid off of this. And, wow. I mean,
now she's concerned about actually saying the name of the company. So after saying it 500 times.
But yeah. And by saying it, I am not recommending them to you guys. Nobody. No, not even my ex.
Wow.
No, maybe my ex.
That's impressive.
And right here before Christmas time, too.
Right.
How many people rented a computer for their kids, for Christmas?
You talk about ads, and I've been meaning to say this for the last couple of weeks because it's been bugging the absolute hell out of me. Every ad break, it's finally. I don't know if I finally get out of the logarithm or whatever. I don't know, but I see this and I keep thinking about it because I'm not going to mention the name of the product. But it's talking about how it's an ad blocker, and you could set it up to where if you watch the ad you get paid, but otherwise it'll block the ads. And I'm like, it worked well for YouTube and Twitch. I'm like, and I'm watching this on YouTube.
Right.
So I'm like, how much money is Google? Since Google owns YouTube, are they getting paid to show this ad? Because it's not in their best interest.
Yeah.
Man, up our ways. If it's real,
Yeah.
if it works.
If it's real.
Well, and that kind of lets you show, though, how much they don't look when money's involved,
But it was like every ad. It was every time there was an ad that's going to be shown. One of them was going to be for this freaking product. And I was like, oh my God, oh God, it's like stabbing myself in the eye. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's finally cleared up because it's now what I'm seeing now is basically for which is funny because now a lot of it's over is for sign up for health insurance.
Right.
Now that's the dominant thing. I was like, yeah, but we're already past the 15th. Come on.
Get with it.
They're a little behind the times.
Yeah.
So.
See, my ads are different. Mine are all the toys that are out right now.
I wonder why.
Leanne has totally screwed my algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
And did I tell you guys that
Yes. No, I don't
Digital Circus was picked up by Netflix?
I think you did mention that actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I always like it when you see the little guys finally rise up to the top, finally acknowledge what they do. Is pretty cool,
Yep.
Mm.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
God, who does that? Jeez.
Right. But no, other than Tinfoil and Conspiracies, that's pretty much it for me.
Well, hang it.
Helmet.
Do what?
It sounds like my helmet.
Right.
You have a helmet made of tinfoil and conspiracies?
Oh, yeah.
Well, hang in there,
Seems
Liz.
like-
Hey, conspiracies are just about the sturdiest stuff known to man, honestly.
Yeah.
Hang in there, Liz. Wait until I get around.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, yes, folks. This may be a long introduction, so
Oh,
just
God.
hang in there.
They're all long. But
Like I
anyway.
said, I mean, all the drama and tea happens right around the holidays. You get people off from work and they're all shoved together and all this kind of stuff comes out.
Yeah.
So, what conspiracies do you have, Mike?
I didn't realize that was the homework for this week. But anyway, that doesn't mean I can't wing it. No. I have no conspiracies. Unless conspiracy to remake a bad movie is a thing. If it is, then Hollywood has been guilty for a long time. So I decided this time around that I wanted to watch something, but it's been a while since I watched any good sci-fi. So I went looking for a sci-fi movie. I didn't find a good one, but I did watch. I did watch Missile to the Moon from 1958. And I make a point, and there's a reason why I do this, honestly, because it's funny as hell to read the descriptions of the movies like on Wikipedia and IMDb after the fact, after you've watched it, which is why I don't look stuff up while I'm watching it. This movie...
The anti-Liz method.
Right. I'll pause the movie to Google it.
Right. I absorb the whole thing and then go back and start figuring out what it all means. Because it sticks in my brain. But yeah, so this is 1958, distributed by Astor Pictures. The reason that's important is because they released a movie in 1953 called Catwomen of the Moon, which I actually watched a few months back. Missile to the Moon is a straight up hardcore remake of that movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Neither one of them are particularly good movies, but yeah, they fiddled with some of the backstory for this a little bit, and otherwise it's basically the same movie. A guy or two guys essentially on their own build a rocket, and they're going to fly it with the full intent of flying it to the moon. One of them is a little more gung-ho about this than the other, but turns out there's a reason why the one guy wants to go to the moon, but we'll get to that. So basically, just as the rocket is ready to launch and the military shows up and it's like, oh yeah, we need to take this over because it's a military thing. And while this is happening, a couple of guys bust out of the local jail. And sheriff shows up and he's looking, he's asking permission to check the property for them. Well, he goes and Mr. Gung Ho goes with them and they check the property and they conveniently don't find anything. Well, Mr. Gung Ho, after the sheriff leaves, gets in the rocket, finds the two convicts and offers them a deal. He's like, okay, I can either turn you over to the cops or you can help me fly this rocket to the moon. And they're like, you're out of your freaking mind, but you've got the gun, so we don't have a choice. The other, huh?
I was going to say, I said lunch, not launch.
Basically. And in a cruel twist of fate, the other guy who built the rocket and his fiancée happen to stumble into the rocket just as it's launching. And so the crew of three ends up...
Tell them why. Tell them why they got into the rocket. They didn't have a car to make out in, so they got to the rocket, right?
You've seen this.
Of course he's seen this. Liz,
honestly, I think I've seen this.
Riff Tracks has covered this movie twice.
Okay.
Everybody else has seen this.
Yeah, I think. Well, I hadn't seen Riff Tracks, but it sounds so freaking familiar.
Well, it's also very close to the plot of Catwomen of the Moon, like I said.
Yep. But I don't think I've seen that though.
You've seen this one, you've seen that one, but anyway, yeah. So, yeah, they take off, fly to the moon. The gung ho guy gets injured and dies on the way. But it turns out he's the one who's originally from the moon. I am totally spoiling the fuck out of this. I don't care. He's the guy who's from the moon, and he gives the other guy a medallion, basically for identification, for when they meet the moon people. Because there's a collection of very pretty young women who live on the moon. And the whole deal is that Dirk, the guy who built the rocket, was an advanced scout trying to find a new place to live because essentially the moon is dying. So they need to move. And from here, hilarity ensues. And it's just a cheesy sci-fi movie. One of the things that impressed me about this is I was a little disappointed because, like I said, I went to watch a sci-fi movie. There is almost no science in this movie. Honestly, there's no science in this movie other than mention of the word rocket. That's basically it. Everything else is just pure silliness. Let's see. Notable inclusions in this movie. Hardly any of these people were known at all. A few of them became well known. The two escaped cons are played by Tommy Cook and Gary Clark. Both of these guys went on to become like real Hollywood people. The other real notable is one of the young, in fact, the one young Mars girl who falls for one of the convicts is played by Leslie Parrish. You Trekkies will recognize her as the cute young lieutenant who beams down with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy to the planet where they met the Greek god Apollo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I spent this whole movie going, why does she look familiar? Well, okay, the part of it she was in, which is like the last half, but still. And beyond that, there is pretty much no redeeming value for this movie. I say that. It's not like Manos, the Hands of Fate bad, but it's not good. It's like a coherent movie that you can watch, mostly. It's got some pretty stupid moments in it. It's got some pretty stupid dialogue in it. It's not all stupid, but it's not all bad, but there's a lot of bad. I mean, it's bad enough, like I said, that Riff Tracks has covered it twice. So there we are. Now at some point I am going to have to go find an actual science fiction movie to watch because I haven't scratched that itch yet.
Hey, everybody wants a paycheck.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this one was made on an even smaller budget than Catwoman of the Moon. So
reminds me of the quote Michael Caine said several years back regarding Jaws of Revenge. You heard of this one?
I'm probably
it's been used a lot where he says, he hadn't seen the movie, he's heard nothing good about it, but he's seen the house that movie made, that he was able to build from that movie, and it's pretty terrific.
Uh-huh. I'm not sure anybody could build a house off of this movie's budget, but
no, right.
Yeah.
It's a paycheck's a paycheck.
It's a paycheck, and it got some people started who, like I said, went on to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in Hollywood who's done anything has a movie like this in their back catalog, and that's just the way it works. You got to start somewhere, and
right.
They tried.
Wasn't there a movie? I think it was Tommy Lee Jones, where a guy was building his own rocket. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
Tommy Lee Jones?
Yeah, I think so.
Could be, but Tommy Lee Jones has such a long filmography that it would be hard to track down quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the 90s, I know that. But that's okay.
So pre-Men in Black.
Yeah. That's okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it sounds like the kind of thing that if the script is right, he would do. He did some interesting stuff early in his career.
Yeah, he did.
Well, his son talked him into doing Batman Forever.
He did some not interesting stuff early in his career, too. But anyway. Once again, they all have stuff in their
everybody does.
filmography
yes.
that they might not be all that thrilled about, but it was a step to get somewhere. So,
not everything can be a home run. Sometimes it's a strikeout.
Right. Even Babe Ruth struck out occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some of these are fun to watch anyway. I mean, would I recommend that nobody ever watch this movie? No, absolutely not. It's interesting enough. I mean, it's got a sort of a story. I mean, if nothing else, it's an exercise. It's an exercise in making a movie without much of a story.
Plot?
It would be a good primer on maybe how not to do some dialogue. Maybe places where it would be pretty fun to spot places where you could improve the dialogue without much work, sort of thing. I don't know. I would use it. I might consider using a movie like this to teach a screenwriting course. Not that I'm qualified to teach a screenwriting course, but
Oh, neither were the screenwriters.
Well, these guys weren't. No. But at least not in whatever time they had to write this, to slap this thing together. So yeah, I mean, the version on Tubi is colorized. It's an interesting, and by interesting I mean not necessarily a good colorizing job. The color is actually consistent, which is often a bonus when you see colorizing, because sometimes it's not consistent. I mean, the Moon Girls are the same shade of blue the whole time, so that's a win, in my opinion. It's a kind of an oddly washed out palette for it. I might have gone a little more zippy, but I think they were going for bleak because of the whole moon thing. I don't know. It's not how I would have done it, but I think as colorizing goes, it's not a bad job. Whether this movie was worth the effort or not, I'm not going to go there, but yeah, like I said, I wouldn't say don't watch it no matter what, but I would say don't expect much.
Yeah, that's true.
I like those kind of reviews.
Every time I say that, you go right out and watch the movie, don't you?
I do.
No, do not.
Okay, we're going to recommend Black Hole. How's that?
We tried that once. It didn't work then either.
Okay. All right. What's your conspiracy theory, Les?
I watched a couple of Christmas movies. I watched Black Christmas, which is so much fun to watch again.
Which I assume it's the original version, right?
This is the original from the 70s.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, very good.
She played Juliet in that Romeo and Juliet of the 70s.
Yeah.
Olivia Hussey.
Yep. And Margot Kidder and Andrea.
Yeah.
From STV.
Yeah.
Andrea Martin.
Martin, yeah.
And then...
directed by Bob Clark.
Yep, Bob Clark.
Not Bob Clark. That was a different director.
And
Clark.
Keir Dullea was in it, too.
Yes, Keir Dullea was in it.
Yep. Yes.
John Saxon.
John Saxon, that's right.
That is also on Tubi right now.
That's a good film. I've not seen the I think it's been remade twice within the last 20 years.
Yeah, it has.
And I have no interest in seeing either one of them. The first one works so well.
And then I got a phone call from a friend of mine, invited me over last week to watch Joe Bob Briggs' Christmas special, in which he showed two movies. One that I've already talked about, and that was It's a Wonderful Knife.
Cool.
And the first one was a movie called Rare Exports, which can be seen on AMC Plus right now. This is a Finnish movie, so you have to read the movie, which is okay. It's fun. But this is when a group is mining up in a hill, and they come across one of the cores they pull out, that there is sawdust and wood chips down several feet. The miners there decide that they're going to dig up whatever it is, which they do. The locals who live on the reindeer acquisitions they get are not happy because something has killed all of the reindeer, which they would normally herd up into a pen. So they decide they want to find out what's going on. They start checking around, and the hero, I guess, is a small boy, and he starts fearing what's going on. He fears that it's Santa Claus. Actually, it is kind of a Krampus instead. And Santa Claus has what we call elves. So these little elves are attacking the area. The elves are played by men that go naked through the movie. This is in the winter in Finland. They're running around naked.
That's brave.
And it was explained at the end after the movie that Briggs was saying that these guys were shooting their scenes and going to a warming hut.
But they were.
Well, with the cold conditions, they could only film them for about 40 seconds.
Oh, man.
And then they'd have to go into the hut. And they would sit around and warm up and play cards or whatever. And the elves were still naked. They just, I guess you'd say they kept their suits on.
They weren't elves. It was just really cold outside.
They were in costumes the whole time.
Let's talk about shrinkage.
Yeah, there's evidence of that. So,
Photographic.
but the villagers, the men that had the
Clothes on.
well, yeah, started trying to find the thing that was extracted from the earth, and a lot of the children in the town were starting to be missing. So they came across where the excavated person was, and it was a large block of ice, and they had heaters and stoves and the like that were stolen from the people of the village trying to thaw this thing up. And yeah, there's this large chunk of ice, and there are two large horns sticking out of it. So they have to battle one of the Santas or one of the elves to try to destroy it. It's a very drawn out movie. It's only about 80 minutes long, but it just makes you sit there and going, come on, do something. Let's do something.
Oh, wow.
Until about the last 2 minutes, and then it's exciting. So
That is not the review I was expecting to hear of that movie. Holy cow.
I would say take your time. If you've got Shudder, that's where it appeared. It was on Shudder. And I'm sure that it's probably on their playlist now. And, of course, Briggs had Daisy on with him. And that poor girl was going through hell. But it was funny because she could swap lines with him just as fast. I thought, good for you.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, I think that's why she's there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is a former porn star.
There's a couple of reasons why she's there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of reasons, yes.
Oh, by far. Yeah, if you get the chance, take that one in.
Interesting.
Rare exports.
That's cool.
I think you'd enjoy it. I do not have Shudder myself, but this may have been the point at which I decided, yeah, I need Shudder.
I think it's on Amazon.
It's on Prime?
I think it is.
2010.
Let's see.
Have to look
On AMC Plus.
This says Peacock.
It's on Freeview, Peacock, Plex, Pluto, Tubi.
See, Preview is Amazon now too.
Mm-hmm.
You can rent it on Prime Video. So it has several.
Speaking about Amazon, have y'all heard that they may buy Hulu?
No, I have not heard that.
Huh.
Oh, not Hulu. Might buy Roku.
Okay, because I was like, isn't it Hulu with Disney?
Yeah. I meant Roku.
So that's how we're going to narrow down the streaming services.
Of course.
We're all going to acquire each other.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is America. What was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, I've heard a little scuttlebutt about it, but I hadn't really looked into it any more than hearing that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Okay.
Now we go back to the conspiracy corner.
Now we go back to conspiracy. I've been continuing the body cam videos because there's always new stuff popping up every day, from several channels. But I fell down the rabbit hole. Actually, I was kind of going through some of it again a couple of nights ago. Have you heard this whole conspiracy regarding Frankie Valli?
No.
Uh-uh.
Okay. For those who don't know who Frankie Valli is, Frankie Valli...
Walk like a man.
Yeah, he's a legend in rock and roll. He's in the Rock Hall of Fame. Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons had a ton of hits in the 60s, and he's had solo hits in the 70s and all that. He's currently on tour through April, just shy of his 91st birthday.
Lord.
What has been happening, and apparently it's been the talk for a few months, but I didn't know anything about it till I stumbled upon it. Last couple of months, some video clips have been hitting TikTok, and there's been some discussion, complaints, concerns, and all that, because he is 90 years old, and you're looking at these performances, and you're just wondering why he's doing it. It's like, does he need a movie, or is this a money, or is this a case of elder abuse? Because he just looks horrible. He's moving around real slowly on the stage. I'm like, well, he's 90 years old. That's going to happen.
Yeah, there might be a connection there.
There may be something there, but a lot of accusations of lip syncing of a lot of the songs. And someone pointed out, it is like, well, it kind of makes sense because of his voice. There's no way he can hit those notes again.
Right.
The notes he was hitting 60 years ago. And I'm like, okay. But the thing that's really been freaking the fuck out of me watching these videos is he doesn't blink. He stands there, and this is a clip of a minute or two, and it's like he does not blink his eyes. He makes the showbiz animatronics look lifelike. Like, wow.
Weird.
So, yeah, I don't know, but he's come out. He put out a statement saying that he thinks it's the funny. Oh, this is funny. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm doing this because I love performing. The audience is there. The fans are coming out to see me, and that's great. And I kind of want to keep doing this for as long as I can. So come join us. Let's have some fun and all that. And I'm like, well, if the audience is enjoying the show, and he's enjoying doing it, I guess who's really hurt? I don't. I seem to have a lesser issue with this than like the Eagles. But then again, Eagles are. How much money are Eagles charging for their tickets to have Don Henley sit back there behind a drum set and lip sync Desperado? As opposed to Frankie Valli, who is not going to be here much longer, and experience this. I don't know. Maybe that's hypocrisy on my part, but I don't know. It just I don't know. But yeah,
maybe Don Henley can't hit them notes anymore either. You never know.
Well,
he's no spring chicken.
Yeah.
He ain't 90, but he's no spring chicken.
Right. But it's just kind of funny how this. I had not heard anything about it, but apparently this has been going on for a couple of months. So.
Well, I would suspect that he has paid off the debt owed.
I don't think there's really any kind of debt, or he's being forced to do this. I think he's been performing for 60 years, and if he wanted to retire, and do what? He probably die the next day. This is his life. So if he wants to keep doing it and everybody's showing up and having a great time, I guess, like I said, who's really getting hurt? I don't know. But it's just kind of the great thing was I've watched some of the concert stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I know this song. I'm sitting there, and it's like there's not a freaking song on the set list that I did not know, and was not a hit.
Right.
I realized they had a lot, but I just hadn't thought about it. I hadn't actually taken the time to think about how many hits they had.
Mm-hmm.
So,
if you get the chance, watch Jersey Boys.
Yeah, that's been mentioned. That's been mentioned a lot too, and I need to.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's good that people are concerned, and I mean,
yeah.
But he seems to be all right, so
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
He seems to be enjoying himself. That's really what matters.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, he enjoys doing it, and the audience obviously loves it. So.
Yep. Good on him.
Yep. So. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll get into this week's discussion. Welcome back. It's time for our main discussion. The last few weeks we've been kind of having things kind of Christmas oriented obviously for the times. If you listen to last week, we talked about things that we kind of hate about the holiday or the season, that type of stuff. So we're kind of going to the opposite end here with this week. We're talking about maybe our favorite memory of Christmas, or whatever else y'all want to talk about. That's fine. So let's.
Because we never stay on topic, do we?
Oh, hell no.
What's the topic?
Why should Christmas be any different, man?
Topic? What's a topic?
We had a theme for the show tonight.
So let's go ahead and get into it. What's your favorite memory?
Oh man. This should be an easy one, right? It really should be an easy one, but
if all goes well in your life, no, this is actually a really hard one because you have lots of memories to choose from.
Yeah. And yeah. I think for me, the Christmas that really, really stands out to me, and of course it has a backstory because I can't tell one without it, can I?
Oh, hell no, but go for it.
Yeah. Y'all know I have 3 older sisters, right? I'm a baby. Yep. Michelle is the next one up from me. Yep. That's why we always paired off together. And then we have my other sister, Lanisha, and then there's an older one, Delana. Well, Lanisha was always the smart one. She still is. She was working and babysitting and always had a way of making money, Well, one summer she took a job as, it wasn't a newspaper, but it was like a sales paper, I guess, that they deliver, I think it's like twice a week or something. And, she would roll these up. She'd get up at 5:00 in the morning, roll these all up and everything else. And she would always tell me and Michelle that she would pay us if we helped her deliver these papers and stuff. So she gave us maybe 4 blocks that we had to do, and she took care of the rest. Well, 2 blocks into this, there was a Dairy Queen. So most of the time, me and Michelle, we would take, whatever papers we had left, chunk them in the trash, and go get some ice cream and go on home.
Wow.
This this was at what time?
This was back in the 80s, you know.
What time of day?
Oh.
Oh, well, probably afternoon at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they just had to be delivered by, I think it was like 4 o'clock that day. Well, we didn't really feel bad about it because we're like, man, this sucks. We're out here working and smogging in the heat and everything else, and the only thing we get's an ice cream. This is bullshit. Well, that Christmas, we found out that the only reason my sister had even gotten that job was for extra money because the toy of the year was Cabbage Patch Dolls. And she wound up getting me and Michelle.
I remember
both.
that.
Yep. We both got our own Cabbage Patch Dolls that she had paid for out of this, you know, newspaper money. So, of course, we felt like assholes, and we had to tell her what we'd been doing.
Well, you should.
Yeah. But, you know, we were pretty smart about it because if we worked 2 blocks one day, we'd go and get the other 2, like, later in the week. So everybody at least got a paper once in a while.
Once a week.
Wow.
They weren't the same ones that were skipped, you know. Now, these were like those little thrifty savers or whatever they were.
Oh, okay.
I think now you have to get them out of a paper machine. Do they even have paper machines anymore?
I don't know.
But yeah.
Or maybe there's like a wire stand at the grocery store or something like that.
Yeah, because I think everybody got upset about them just being left on their doorstep twice a week.
Or put it in your mailbox.
Yeah.
Some people just don't want to be happy, I'm telling you.
No. But then you'd be surprised, too, how many people are like, it didn't make it on my porch. Bitch, I'm 8. Okay, do you have an arm like Mickey Mantle? Did I?
Wow,
Right?
she made a sports ball reference that made sense.
Sports ball. Ooh.
Awesome, good job.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite Christmas memories. So, and if I look around in my attic long enough, I'm probably still have that doll.
God, I remember seeing the news the years those first started up, and it just the chaos there was.
Yes.
Of people trying to get that, because that was the hottest thing out that year. I was like, oh my God.
Yep. And then not only were the Cabbage Patch Kids so popular, the year she did this, the Preemies had just came out. And so Michelle got a regular doll and I got the Preemie doll. So we had one of each, you know. And it's weird because when we grew up, Michelle had the regular baby and I had the Preemie baby. Life was training me.
Dang.
Okay.
And then it got quiet.
And then it got...
Because that's the part where I usually go.
Bah.
I have.
Bah humbug.
No shit. I have worked really hard to not be an ass through all of this stuff because, I mean, the holidays is not my bag.
And now we're going to pay for it.
No, but I'm also going to try not to turn this into therapy. So here we go.
What? We're not supposed to do that?
I'm trying not to. You do what you want, Liz.
A little late, but okay.
How many years have I been on here?
Oh, several. Every single one of them is therapy. But anyway.
Yeah.
So my deal was, or is, or it depends on how you look at it. The best thing I can probably say is that my best memories of Christmas are not likely to be older ones. They're likely to be the newer ones because there were things going on in my life and in the house when I was a kid, and generally speaking, the best memories I have of that are the ones where nothing happened. They were the boring ones. But then I grew up and I married into the Cleaver family. And I mean, God, seriously, it's like I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop on some of this shit. It's just insane. I mean, stuff has happened. Weird stuff goes on in this family, but it's just not the same.
It's weird marrying into normal, isn't it?
You're
like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
25 years, I still don't know how to act, you know? Right. It's insane.
It's bad when the dirtiest thing you will ever hear is, "Ward, you were a little hard on the beaver last night."
Right. Oh, the funny thing is that my father-in-law would have made a joke like that. But anyway. So yeah, I mean, for my whole thing is that the best ones are the ones where it's actually kind of boring and there's nothing going on. So, which is kind of counter to, in a way, it's kind of counter to the whole concept of the topic for this episode. So I feel a little bad about that, but that's my brain is wired backwards. That is not news to anybody around here. So.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of my cop-out.
I'm sorry to hear that, though, Mikey.
You know.
I know how crazy families can be, and
you get past
sucks.
Yeah. When you get past it, you do what you do is, if you end up having a kid, you do your best to make that kid's life as good as you can, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to do.
Amen.
I have tried my best, you know.
Yeah. Well, you've raised a pretty good kid, so you've done a good job.
You don't even know him. What are you talking about?
Well, I know what you tell me.
That was a quick save.
Right. You haven't said anything about drugs or jail, so hey, man, good job.
I could tell drug stories, but no jail stories for sure.
Yeah.
Not for the kid.
Yeah. That brings me to my second Christmas.
Oh, come on now. Give everybody else a turn. Jeez.
No, I'm interested. Let's hear it. Well, go ahead, Les.
For me, I had a paper route too, but mine was daily. And getting up at 5 in the morning was not a lot of fun, especially in the winter, except when I got to walk down the middle of the street and throw papers from there. And I got damn good at it. I was able to get the porches without a problem.
Yeah, Mickey Mantle didn't have nothing on Les.
Right.
So take that, young'un.
I mean, it could have been daily, but we only did it like twice. We threw a lot of papers away.
No doubt. But what I remember about Christmas is we had the Christmas play every year at the church. And after that, we got home. Well, actually, we had the practices for the Christmas play. Then we'd go home, and that was when The Wizard of Oz was on TV that afternoon, and I'd always miss about the first third of the movie. But on Christmas Eve, we'd have the program. We'd go home, and that was when we opened presents. My parents thought that this would be best for us. Of course, it wasn't, because then we wanted to stay up all night and play with whatever we got.
Right.
Except ties and shoes and socks and underwear. Those weren't a lot of fun.
And pink Easter outfits.
I'm sorry?
And pink Easter outfits.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, you knew.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. One year, this was in the late 50s, early 60s, that my brother got a Cape Canaveral set. It had the rocket, it had the launch pad, it had a couple of buildings, a couple of trucks, things like that. And I was so envious, because my parents knew that I loved space. My brother had no idea what was going on. But this was around the same time that the Mercury program started. So to me, it meant a lot. But I guess the best memories were we would get to gather and just have fun as adults. And got to spend time with my brother, my sisters, well, both brothers, and my sisters, my parents. And we would just crack up and make jokes about everything going on. So to me, that was the most fun I had.
That's sweet.
And now I've got my wife to make fun of, so.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
And she loves that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she loves getting teased. Yep. I can totally see that. Yep. For me, and I just love every, Christmas morning we would get up and we would open up presents and then kind of clean up the mess and then actually clean up and get ready, because the grandparents and all that would be coming over, where we have a little, like a mid-morning meal or late morning. I mean, not necessarily lunch, but not too far off. And then open up the rest of the presents and then just to visit and all that. That was kind of nice. I miss that, especially now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what year it was, but the first time I went to one of the services, I don't know if you call it Advent services or whatever, but the point where, I don't do this anymore. I'm not as religious as I used to be. At one point where they would turn off the lights, and then the pastor would light a candle, and the rest of us have candles, and then he would pass the we start lighting each other's candles, and then how bright the room would get, and basically that's a kind of a representation of spreading the word of God.
Yep.
I'm like, that was a cool visual. Now, whether you believe in it or not, that's okay. But as a visual, it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For non-Christians, it's like the lighter thing at the concerts.
Yeah. So.
Well, there are Christians at concerts too.
Well, yeah, but they've seen the candles.
Yeah, no, I think about it. Nobody at English service went, "Free bird! Free bird!"
It's the god of the Vita, baby.
Now they would be singing "In the Garden of Eden."
Yep.
This sounds like rock and or roll.
See, I've been to many candle vigils.
And a few concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yep. Concerts and music was a little better. Easier to sing along,
And
there's certain music that gets me emotional, and it's Christmas music, especially like, Silent Night and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain songs that hit me as well.
Yeah.
Anything Mariah Carey.
That's a different kind of hit. That's like a throat
right
punch.
in the spleen, right? The old infamous brown note.
Oh man.
Another one that I started doing at my first home on Christmas. I guess it would be Christmas Eve. Yeah, it would be Christmas Eve, where I would turn off the lights in my den, and I would turn on the radio because there was I'm going to kind of go into this for our audience. There was a AM station that was a talk radio, and on Christmas Eve night, they changed over, or they had special programming of old radio shows, and they would be playing the Christmas episodes. So like Jack Benny or Dragnet or some of the other stuff where it's their Christmas episodes. So I would listen to that, and then I would have my tree lit up. So that's the only light source in the room. And I'm listening to these old programs.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. I mean, they don't that station doesn't do it anymore, which is sad.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I can find all that stuff online and recreate that. But and I may do that.
See, I have satellite, and I don't think I've seen anything like that. That would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look and see. I haven't looked for it, but they always send me, here's your Christmas list, which they get wrong every time.
Oh, wow.
Well, what's funny is, excuse me, hearing that Dragnet episode and realizing that story Webb used 2 more times. He used it in the 50s series and then again in the 60s series. Same damn story. Same damn script. Maybe changed a little bit, but not much.
Change the names to protect the innocent, perhaps?
The mystery of the stolen baby Jesus from the nativity scene.
Sweet baby Jesus.
That's a different context altogether.
Did you see was there a Dragnet movie? Not the comedy. Before anybody goes off on a tangent. No, I think there was a movie back in the 40s, late 40s,
Yeah, with oh god, Paladin.
Richard Newton.
Yeah, he was like the boss.
Hmm.
Because what I remember was there was somebody on a plane that, well, actually, he didn't get on the plane. He just put a bomb on the plane and was going to collect insurance because he was scheduled to fly.
Mm.
And he thought, well, I'll just beat the insurance company and disappear.
I've only seen bits and pieces of that one. I've seen the '60s version. There was a '60s movie, and honestly, apparently Jack Webb wanted to do movies. He wanted to do Dragnet movies instead of doing a series. So, and then of course the Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd, which I've seen bits and pieces of 100 years ago.
I think I went to the movies for that one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too.
And I'm sorry. So, any other special memories? Liz, you said you had another one.
Yeah, I have another one. Growing up, I grew up in Colorado, and we had grandparents in Dallas, and we had another set of grandparents in Mansville, which is Oklahoma. So we would always leave Christmas Eve night, and we were pretty much traveling all night long so we could wake up Christmas morning, be wherever, whichever grandparent we were going to. It's kind of sad because as a kid, I can't stand the woman, but we always liked going to my dad's mom's house first before we went to Granny Sarah's house, just because she always had the better gifts and stuff. But like I said, we were little shits. But one year we decided we were going to that because normally we hit Oklahoma first. You have to drive through it to get to Dallas, so we do them first. But we decided to do them last. What I didn't know is we decided to do them last because a couple of months prior they had told my grandmother that my grandfather had lung cancer, which, like I said, they didn't tell his kids any of that or anything else. Well, Dad, thinking it was going to be their last Christmas, my grandparents in Oklahoma, they definitely lived, right at the poverty line. They're the reason I know what government cheese and stuff tastes like, and you would have never known because they had everything they needed and everything else. But one of the things they didn't do very often was splurge on things like Christmas trees and that kind of thing. So Dad told us girls, on the way there, we're going to get Grady and Pawpaw, we're going to get them a Christmas tree. And I'm thinking, oh, cool, we're going to go shopping, But what the hell's open on Christmas Day? Absolutely nothing in the 80s. We still had blue laws in effect, let alone Christmas, So, Dad pulled over side of the road, cut a tree down, which I thought was just cool as shit.
Of course you did. Your little larcenous heart skipped a beat, I'm sure.
Oh, fudge.
I didn't realize that it was illegal when he did it.
Did he?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But he was like, this is what we're doing, So,
and I repeat, oh, fudge.
So we cut that tree down, took it to their house. I think us girls made some little ornaments. Mom had some little ornament stuff. But I still have the picture of me sitting there with the doll that I gotten from, Minnie, which I don't have that in the attic anymore.
What, the tree?
No, the doll. I kept a lot of them, but I didn't keep anything from her. But I thought that was pretty cool. That's when I saw the rebel side of my dad, and it was like, cool. Pastor Billy cut it down.
Dang.
Do you folks remember taking pictures in front of the trees and all that?
Yep, that one's a Polaroid.
Yep.
You remember that?
Yep.
Fancy.
You had to wave it and blow on it to see if you got the picture right.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the family was going, oh, not another one.
Yeah, set back down, set back down.
There again.
Liz blinked. Michelle was slapping her. Yeah, I think as kids, just a lot of our Christmas Day, I mean, now, this was before like seatbelt laws and all that stuff, you know. One time, Dad had a truck, and he just put like a camper shell on the back of it, but he made like a little platform back there and put carpet and stuff on it, so he'd throw us kids, you know, all four of us back there in that camper shell, so he and his mom didn't have to fuck with us, you know. So I think a lot of the time that was probably the best of Christmas. Was back there, all four of us, talking, cutting up. Yeah. I wouldn't do Minnie's house over again, but I definitely would my grandma Sarah's.
Yeah.
Especially
And
with
I wish I
stolen
wouldn't have
Christmas
been.
tree.
Yeah. Of course, we didn't tell them because my grandmother was typical Pentecostal lady. Little bun, you know, dresses all the way down to the ankles, that kind of thing. Had she have known that that tree was a hot tree, it never would have made it in her house. Yeah, and I remember though that Papa Virgil was so tickled pink about that tree. He worked until, well, he was in school probably until about second, third grade. And then he had to quit school to go and help his family, you know, on the farm and stuff. He was that generation. So I don't think he got a lot of Christmas trees and stuff. So I think for my grandmother, that's why it was really no big deal not to put one up because, you know, not going to miss anything you didn't really have before, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we liked her house last. She'd load us up on some good food to put in the back of that camper to go home with.
See, that's something that I was fortunate enough not to have to deal with as a child. Everybody came here. Everybody came to my parents' house.
Okay.
So I didn't have to make 3-4 trips to see everybody. But conversely, Mom was spending a lot of the time fixing food, so it's like okay, but
Yeah.
she's not really enjoying everything that's going on because she's busy.
Yeah,
So,
constantly doing things.
yeah, you know, I used to hear that a lot of of others having to go to 2 or 3 places during the day, and it's like, well, I'm lucky.
Yeah, you are. Well, I mean, we got lucky later on. Once once my grandma Sarah and Virgil had passed away, Minnie kind of like quit talking to us and everything, so we didn't have to worry about them anymore.
Damn.
So, yeah. But we still kept everything Christmas Eve, and Mom got to be the house that everybody went to, you know. And then one year she was like, this is too much work. And hey, understandable. You know, we're a family of 6, you know, understandable. But then they just quit going to everybody else's things. So that's kind of like when Christmas died for us in my family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, because when Mom got to the point where she couldn't or didn't want to do it anymore, no one took up the mantle. No one took it up to do it, so it died off.
Yep. Which you try, but we're still trying to find our little traditions back again. Ours now is Christmas Day, which is weird because, like I said, everything's always been Christmas Eve. Christmas Day is just kind of an afterthought, Because, like I said, we were traveling and stuff, but now we do Christmas Day after the baby gets up and everything. But that's what I tried to explain to them this year. My kids are grown. Before, I was the one making sure of, we have to be here or we have to be there, or, I don't have to do that. Nobody wants to see me anymore because my kids are grown. So you tell me where my baby's going to be and where I need to be, and that's where I'll be,
At least that's what they're telling you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see you because the family's grown. That's what.
Yeah.
With my in-laws, there were just two instances that really made me happy. One was went to visit, and one of their neighbors had asked us to come to dinner, which I thought was pretty cool. Down in Louisiana, we went over to the neighbor's house, and we ended up eating dinner in their garage. Now, the garage was like a 3-car garage. There had never been a vehicle in it, so it was spotless. But we got to have dinner in there, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then the other time was at my in-laws, and that's when I proposed to my wife.
Aww.
Ooh.
On Christmas Eve?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. That's cool.
Actually, I think I proposed to mine on Christmas Eve.
Aww.
I think that was one.
See, you had a good one there too.
You did.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That was
See,
stressful,
I had to
man.
make
I don't
my
know what
husband
you're talking about.
get married on 12/13 because it was Friday the 13th, and he wouldn't forget that date. It's 12/13.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's cool, though.
Oh, last year would have been the time to do it. On the 31st. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that would have been. We got married in 96. Yeah, 96.
Dang.
Wow.
I know. Too long ago.
So you were like 7, man.
Well, when you were in diapers, I got married in 90.
Do what?
I got married in 1990.
In 90?
Yeah.
That's cool. We're a few years behind you.
No, and mine was memorable too, because my wife's birthday is on the 4th of July. We got married on the 5th of July.
Aww.
Missed it by that much.
No.
That way he can remember.
That way I only have to get one gift.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and it could be explosive, and you wouldn't get in trouble or anything, huh?
We messed up. We thought, okay, a couple of weeks before Christmas, we'll be good with that. Well, then we turned around and had Brandon the following year on the 8th.
Oops.
So it's like, damn it. December's just fried for us. It's like something's happening every week, you know. Brandon's birthday, then Sean's birthday.
That's what you were griping about at the beginning. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense now.
It's like, you got to fit it all in. And I tried my hardest to not be, oh, not only is this your birthday gift, this is your Christmas present too. I tried not to do that because James's birthday is in May and he always got a gift, you know, so it's not fair to tell Brandon you can only have one gift because your birthday's so close to Christmas, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't have to give him a gift.
Yeah, it's my kid. I mean, that's part of the contract, isn't it?
Hey, therapy bills can be a gift
you have to
too.
give me a gift every
There
year.
you go.
Therapy bills can be a gift too.
Yeah, true.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With nuts.
Wow.
One of my sisters was born on Christmas Eve. Poor kid.
Man.
I know.
Bill's best friend, his birthday was the day after Christmas. That would suck too.
Being in labor all day Christmas Day, yes, that would suck.
Yeah. But as a kid, you're guaranteed that all your Christmas gifts or all your birthday presents were wrapped in Christmas paper.
Yep. Which, if you're a fan of consistency, that's great. But most kids really don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
That's why we usually give her another gift during the summer.
Yeah, the old half birthday trick. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I got a niece who was like born in early January, and that's what they used to do for her. They would celebrate it in July.
It's the only time we would combine is if he was asking for like an Xbox or something like that.
Yeah.
Then we would, okay. But it's your big Christmas gift.
Yeah.
So sometimes that worked in his favor, but sometimes I can see how that would just suck.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, my sister's is a little different because her birthday is the 22nd of November. So you got Thanksgiving right there, and then of course a famous event in history happened here on November 23rd. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
JFK.
JFK.
Ah. I didn't know
I
that.
thought it was on the 22nd.
Huh?
I thought it was on the 22nd.
Okay, I may have the date.
No, go ahead. No, I understand what you're saying.
I think you're right. I may have it reversed. It was 22nd was assassination, and her birthday's the 23rd. That's right. You're right.
Because I know none of you kids were around when that was done, so.
No.
That's
okay. We have
No.
our own versions. Thank you very much.
I was still the gleam in my daddy's eye.
Again, not
Yeah,
creepy at all.
Yeah. Not creepy.
Yeah, he was down there that day that all that happened. He was skipping school. And he was outside of the hotel where JFK was coming out, and he threw gum down, and it wound up on the president's shoe. So, it's like, go Dad. They would have done DNA evidence. They would have found his.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. On that gum.
That was your dad?
Uh-huh.
Oh, and then they could have traced that chopped down tree and all that too, huh?
He was on one of the statues. He wasn't in a tree. Even more obvious.
The Christmas tree.
Yeah.
The stolen
yeah.
Christmas tree.
In local news, we found the guy who shot JFK after he stole a tree.
Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
No, the film at 11 is I'm not wearing any pants.
I was told years ago that pants were not required for these recordings.
Okay. Or the popcorn you're eating's been pissed in.
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Done with popcorn.
Rams plagued by fumbles as earthquakes shake Los Angeles.
We need to go to watch Kentucky Fried Movie again.
We can try. I don't know. Just don't watch it with Brandon, that's all.
With not watching with Brandon.
Yeah. Okay.
We watch it on Discord, and if Brandon happens to show up, hey, we can't control that.
Yep. It's there. We do need to stream a movie on Discord soon.
It's been a bit.
Yeah. I watched that Landman with one of my friends. So I figured it all out.
Yeah, you figured it all out. It was Rosebud is a sled.
Uh-huh.
What? Spoilers, guys.
Alrighty. Any final thoughts before we take our last break?
Nope, I'm all thoughted out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hear what our listeners recall for their exciting things and all that.
Yeah. Come share with us.
Please.
Cool. On that note, we are going to go ahead and take that break and be back with Geek News for you. And we're back. It's time for Geek News for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. This week, it's Les and myself. And Les, would you go first, please, sir?
Thank you, sir. I've got a two-parter. Both are one-shot publications. The first is from Marvel. I guess seeing the success that DC did, Marvel has decided to release Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four.
Yes, I did see this.
They're coming out with this in March, and it's kind of convoluted series. It's 6 one-shots. But I hope that it does well. To me, it's kind of odd that you would have this pairing, but
That is.
it's just one of those things. The other one I have is a one-shot. This is from DC. And I'm happy to see this. This is where they are bringing back the Travelers with Green Arrow and Green Lantern. They're reuniting the hard-traveling heroes. This is interesting to me because this was one of my favorite titles at one time. To me, it was really fun. This is where you had the uncovering of Speedy in that series. Speedy as the dope user. You had the man that was Jesus was put on a cross and hung out in front of an airplane, not in the air but on the ground. You had Green Arrow shoot an arrow through the lantern of Green Lantern as he was trying to take his vow. So I'm hoping that this does well too. Thing is, this is taking place back in that time frame where the two of them were best buddies, although they were at odds too. They were best buddies, and in this, they have to team up once more to save the world from a whispered bounty hunter. And that bounty hunter is Deathstroke, the Terminator. So I'm ready for this. I want to make sure that this should be out this week. I know this will be released next week, but on the 18th, this is coming out. And like I said, it is a one-shot. So if you get the chance, try this out. I'm pretty ready for this myself.
Neat.
That is neat.
Cool.
Just in time for Christmas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
All righty then. For my news item, another horror franchise is getting the requel treatment. And for those who are not familiar with that term, requel is basically a combination of sequel and reboot.
Huh.
Oh, good. There's a term for it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
And this is a franchise. It's been around for a long time, but it's one that probably not a lot of people would think about because it's something that's been around. There hadn't been a recent film. I can't even tell you the last time there was an installment of this series. Anyone want to take a guess? Just take a shot, a wild shot.
The Astro Zombies.
That's a wild shot. That kind of close. It is The Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, he was real close.
They're remaking Return of the Living Dead?
No, they're doing a requel.
Oh.
So basically, they're ignoring all the sequels, and then say that this film is the sequel to the original.
Huh.
Like Halloween just did, Texas Chainsaw Massacre's done. I think this latest Exorcist film is supposed to be a requel. I mean, there's other horror franchises that have done this, but this supposedly
Halloween kind of did that too, didn't they?
That was the first one I listed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it.
Thanks for listening, Liz.
I'm sorry. I listened to most of it.
Close, but no cigar.
My ADD brain didn't catch it all.
The story takes place 18 months after the events of the 1985 original, in which let's see, where was it? I'm sorry. Okay. Quote, this outbreak will take place in a quaint and quiet town nestled in the heart of Pennsylvania, where the locals are already attempting to beat the cold as a winter blizzard brings harsh conditions down on them at the worst possible time. So something a little different.
A little different, yeah.
Battling the blizzard and battling the dead.
Huh.
So the idea here is that nuking Cleveland didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer.
There's always that one that gets away.
I guess.
Well, who knows? They talk about a blizzard. Maybe it's a nuclear winter. I don't know. So this is slated to be released Christmas 2025.
Huh.
So next Christmas.
So we have a couple of good zombie flicks coming out next year.
Well, it's also kind of interesting that we're getting horror films being released right at Christmas because we got Nosferatu coming out here in another week or in a couple days when this comes out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a sign of good things. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, trying to release them in October hasn't traditionally worked all that well, so, you know.
Well, there's so much competition, plus the fact that, you know, hey, you go into haunted houses and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean.
You know, this year they had, what is the name of that place?
Disney World?
No, it's out there like by like Terrell and stuff.
Forney?
Is it Thrillvania?
Oh,
The haunted house out that way? I can't remember if it Screams or Thrillvania. But anyways,
is in Waxahachie.
Maybe that's, it's like one of those little towns out there. This year for Christmas, for all the month of December, they've turned the haunted house into like a Krampus style thing. So they're running the haunted houses on the weekends this month.
Cool.
So I thought that's pretty cool. I don't know why they don't do that, because that's dedicated land that they use for the haunted house. Why not use it? Right. You know.
Well, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
So yeah, fire it up other times of the year. Why not?
But don't they also use that for Scarborough Fair?
Screams? Yeah. That's on the same grounds as Scarborough Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a place, and I don't remember how long ago this was, and I don't think it's even operating anymore. I don't know, but there used to be where it was in Plano. It was like a haunted house, but they would be open up not just only October, but they would do something for winter, so there'd be something in December, and then they would do something in February that ties into Valentine's Day, and then there was like one other holiday. I don't remember if it was St. Patrick's Day or if it was 4th of July or something like that, and they would do something that was kind of tied into that holiday.
That's cool.
And I was like, go ahead, Les.
Is that the one where it was a converted from a sports store?
It may have been. I don't remember. I knew it was in Plano because I remember seeing some stuff about it, but it's just like I hadn't seen anything in a long time, so I don't think it's around. But yeah, I mean it's popped. You know, it's like, well, why don't they take advantage of it year round? Maybe you may not want to do it during the summertime. Maybe too expensive. Not only the upkeep of everything, but you got the additional issue of keeping the place cool.
Yeah.
Because it's hot as hell here.
Unless it's outdoor, like Screaming stuff is.
Yeah. But just a year-round haunted house. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how financially feasible that would be, but I hadn't seen anybody ever really try it.
Yeah. But like you said, for the different holidays and stuff, it seems like that would be pretty cool because, Halloween season, you use it for what, maybe a month there? They open in October. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, before you can open it up, you've got at least 2 or 3 weeks worth of work cleaning everything up because it's been set still for a year, But something you're using year round, there's not a lot of setup to do and finding problems that have developed for setting for a year,
Yeah, for non-use, yeah.
Yep. Especially these haunted houses. They're old houses anyways, They're not used. They're going to finish breaking.
They're going to fall apart.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I just thought it would be an interesting idea for something like that to be somewhat of a year round. Maybe I'm not talking about every weekend of the year, but
right. But
Yeah.
every
Certain.
couple of months, throw it up with something else, with another theme. Find a different
Yeah.
theme for it.
Or do like murder mystery dinners. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, an
Yeah.
escape room thing.
Mhm.
yeah. So, alrighty. So I'm kind of interested. I love the first film. First film was a hoot.
It was pretty good.
Yep. It'd be interesting to see if they can capture the style.
So it's the return of the living dead.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
cool.
that's the key to kind of don't make it serious.
Well, then just call it the requel of the Living Dead.
Right. Yeah. Don't make it serious because then it's nothing different from anything else that's been put out.
Right.
Yeah.
You kind of keep the spirit of the first film, and
Which hopefully that's what they're going to do if they're throwing everything else out and going back.
I think they will. So, alrighty. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Other than a quick happy holidays.
Yep.
Merry Christmas. Oh.
Yes, because Christmas will hit.
Will drop on the 22nd or thereabouts.
Yep. So, alrighty, and hopefully, if you're traveling, safe travels, and hope you have a great time wherever you be going, or people coming to your place or whatever. I hope you have a good time. So,
I will say, slow down. Enjoy those you still have with you, because when they're gone, it sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because I believe me, I thought about that because doing this made me think about that. It's like,
Yeah.
you used to have a house of 9, and now we're not even doing it because there's only 2 of us now. So
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's hard.
It sucks.
It does.
So, all right, let's move on to our regular shout-outs. First of all, we want to thank Pop Goes to Culture for allowing us to be part of a great podcast network. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who are kind enough to spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter or X, however you want to call it. That is Potter and Family. Best way to do that is to do a search, #Potter and Family, one word. Scroll through whatever catches your eye. By all means, click on that link and download that episode. We hope you have a great time listening to them. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. There's a link in the show notes where you can check out their other pieces of music, which is cool stuff. And finally, you dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to this episode. We appreciate the support, and we value your feedback. You can reach out to us in several ways. Our email is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out there. I believe we mentioned it. It's been mentioned a couple times that we do have a Discord that's free to join. On our Discord, we post a lot of news items, stuff for discussions, stuff to laugh at. Liz mentioned trying to do another movie watching night. We may do that sometime soon. So there's an open invitation on our homepage. Discord's free to sign up, and the apps are free in the app stores. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Squat. I'm getting tired, guys. I'm sorry. Blue Sky. We are at Fellowship Geeks. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at TomTC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind enough as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening and happy holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, agreed. Happy holidays to all. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,